Hey everybody, welcome to the Players Take episode 18. I am your host Justin DeSimone, joined by my co-host Montrell Rice. What is up, man? How's the week been treating you?
Terrible.
I know, it's been a long week, man, and I have another day of it tomorrow. Yeah. I'm looking so forward to it. So
fucking apartment flooded and shit.
Really? What? You
didn't
tell me about this. No, dude, man.
That's why I've been.
See, he's holding it for the pod, everybody.
That's why I've been in a bitchy mood all week.
Yeah.
My apartment flooded.
What the hell?
Just the front part of it.
The part like the kitchen and stuff.
Yeah, where the cats are at.
Man, really?
Yeah. So I had to do some work.
What did your apartment do about that? They do.
I got renter's insurance, so luckily they cover floods.
Yeah.
In the renter's insurance, and it did come over the threshold of the door. So technically, it's not a plumbing problem. It is a flood issue.
Okay.
So
fair enough.
Yeah, but besides that, that's what I've been dealing with all week, going back and forth from my apartment and stuff like that. So I haven't been having time for playing games. So the only one.
Come on, Montrell. This is a gaming podcast.
The only game
you haven't played any games in like 2 weeks.
The only game I have been playing. Sometimes you get stressed, man.
Well, hold on. Before we get into the rigmarole, let me do the rigmarole. Whatever.
Okay.
The spiel.
Yeah.
If you haven't listened before, for you new listeners, The Players Take is a weekly video game podcast where we talk about video games, video game news, and other topics pertaining to video games. We post at 6 a.m. Central Time on Tuesdays on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, your favorite podcast app of choice.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about what we've been playing. Montrell, you've been playing nothing, apparently.
I just put a doc. I'm playing Tales of Vesperia.
Tales of Vesperia.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
I've been playing a lot of Switch games because
that's all you've been able to play. Really,
yeah,
well, no, the flood didn't get to your.
No, I didn't get to my room. It's just I put on Xbox in the back, and then I put on like Netflix in the background. Then I play my Switch.
Gotcha.
So,
yeah, that's a fun time.
Yeah, I just need time to decompress.
Yeah, I get you, dude. Like, dude, fucking flood. Oh, God, that's terrible, man. Like,
It's not that bad.
Is your apartment dicking you over though, or are they like taking care of you?
No, they're taking care of me. I'm leaving though at the end in August.
Yeah. You told me that much.
Yeah. So
okay, fine. I guess I'll be the one to talk about video games then. So I've been playing a little bit more Grim Dawn. I've gotten to level 97 on my main character. Kind of grinded through Ultimate now, which I had never finished on this character, so I'm almost through the main game now, and then I'm going to be doing the expansions. However, I kind of got a bout of motivation to play Xenoblade Chronicles 2 again on Sunday, and I have been powering through that game, man.
What chapter are you on?
So I went from the end of Chapter 5 to about the middle of Chapter 8.
Okay. Probably.
So that is pretty significant progress for me. Considering I couldn't play for more like an hour than the past month, but I'm actually really into it again. Like, dude, the story after where I was really picks up and gets good again. And
the power of friendship.
Yeah. Stop it. You bring that up every time I talk about this game.
So
I'm
funny.
So sick of it. Yes, Rex's voice lines are dumb. Some of them are really dumb. His battle lines, dude, like when he screams, like the voice actor for him is so bad in certain instances where he's like charge, like that's literally what he sounds like when he's screaming charge. And then when you jump off of you fall down into a bottomless pit, like into the cloud sea and die, he's just like like it's so bad, man. It's so bad.
Yeah, I miss Shulk.
I miss Shulk too, but he's got his own wonderful game, so we'll leave him there. Rex, dude, overall though, like I actually like Rex for the most part.
No, he's a good character.
The voice actor's not bad the voice actor's actually really good in most cases. It's just certain fringe instances, like when he has to scream or really show extreme emotion, he's not very good at it.
I don't mind, but Rex is a MC. I don't,
dude. In the like little cute conversations, casual conversations, he's fantastic.
Yeah, he's
like,
not. Yeah. So the thing about Xenoblade is they do really good jobs in not having like annoying main characters. Like I didn't find Shulk annoying at all.
Shulk's dude, he's an amazing main character. Yeah, he's one of my favorite main characters in a JRPG, period. Yeah. Straight up. Like, because
Slay Rogue's not better than Yuri, but,
I think he is.
We're not going
Man,
to get
we're gonna fight. Hey, man. I mean, look, dude. I am a Shulk diehard. Okay, he shows emotion in the right way, like where you really feel his emotion, where it's well done. It doesn't feel cheesy or like over the top.
Yeah,
like his emotion is real. Like it's really how I feel like I would react if I were him, in the situations he's in, where, dude, like, his hatred for Mechon, it makes sense for what they do to him and things like that. I mean, dude, it's like, I don't know. I just have I'm a kind of a fanboy for Shulk. I know he's a little bit of a meme because of Smash Bros. And Shirtless Shulk and the Madado and all that fun stuff. But when you actually look at the game and take it from a serious angle, like, I think he's a really good main character.
No,
he's a great leader of the party. Like, he's very natural.
I agree. Like, they write their characters like they're not traditional anime characters.
I think Rex is interesting because he's not as natural of a leader as Shulk is, but he kind of grows into it as the game progresses, and I like it. It seems natural. It takes a long time for you to get there, and that's where the game kind of meanders a little bit. Dude, Chapter 5, the reason I hadn't been playing in a while is Chapter 5 is the worst part of the game that I've experienced so far. It's really slow. There's a lot of cutscenes. Yeah. Very little actual action happens, and the stuff that does happen is just annoying and feels really anime, and in a bad way.
Yeah.
They bring a character back in that chapter that you had defeated before, and it's just like cartoony and weird, and just feels completely out of place.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, minor spoilers here: a character dies and then gets revived. It's just really strange. Like, it's just weird. It's really weird.
Yeah, I like when they kill characters off, but I mean, I don't like when they revive them. Like, if you're gonna kill a character
that's why this part of it, they killed a character and then they revive him immediately, and they literally do it so that you can get his blade. That's what it feels like, because they give you his blade right after that happens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Did you ever get to that point?
No, I didn't.
You didn't? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they like give you his blade right after that, and yeah, it feels like an excuse just to give you his blade. It's like, it's kind of annoying. Like, I don't like it in that sense. And there's a few story things in this game that definitely don't make any sense. Like, I don't really consider this a spoiler because this happens in the first 5 minutes of you starting the game. A Titan dies, and Rex and his Titan buddy see it happen, and they're like, oh, another Titan's dying. And it's like one of the big Titans that people lived on. And they're, Rex asks the Titan that he lives on, like, he's like, "What do you think anybody was still living there?" And the Titan's like, "No, they would have been long gone by now." But it's like they present that event in such a small, casual way at that point in the game. You don't think anything of it at the time.
Yeah.
But the deeper I've gone into the game, it makes literally no sense that happens. Like, that would be a massive event in this world, that a Titan just dying like that, like one of the Titans, because there's only 7 of them that people actually live on that are left.
Oh, okay.
And it's really weird that's there. So that's weird. There's some other weirdness early in the game too that kind of doesn't make sense when you look at it from later in the game. I'm starting to notice it as I think back now where I am.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's kind of strange. And the amount of times you fight the villains gets on my radar a little bit. Like, you fight them a lot, and early on, it doesn't really make sense that you're able to kind of escape. Like, they could have killed you at any time,
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. It just feels like they're just dragging the plot out and coming up with excuses of why you kind of get away a lot of the time. So that part of it definitely annoys me a little bit. It's not the same as Xenoblade Chronicles 1. I feel like Xenoblade Chronicles 1, at least, it was more believable most of the time.
Yeah, their story was more put together, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think there's just little bits and pieces that are kind of off, that don't fit, that are a little poorly handled, and I'm seeing the cracks of where it feels like they kind of rushed some things.
Yeah.
And I that's why I was so surprised that this game came out as soon as it did after X, because I felt like, as large as it sounded like it was, and it is very large, like, it just feels like, how could they have done that? Now I'm starting to see now that they didn't quite get everything right, because of that. So,
you think the DLC will fix any of the plot holes or not?
No, because I have it, and they may have added scenes. I don't know. There's no way to tell really unless I go look it up. I don't think they really added any scenes though. The DLC is actually a prequel that takes place like 500 years in the past.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it has nothing to do with the main game. Well, it does, but it doesn't have anything directly to do with the main game's plot. Yeah. So I don't think it's gonna like clean up any weird plot details or anything like that.
Okay.
Now I will say though, yeah, chapters 6 through 8, things really get good. Particularly 7 and 8, I'm really enjoying the plot now. Things have gotten really interesting, and I'm happy that I got back into it, and I'm pushing to the finish now. I really want to finish this game soon, so excited to keep going. One other thing I do want to say too is the combat. I'm really starting to get the combat now. It's clicking with me. The problem I have with it is it just feels overly complicated. I felt that way the whole time, but the more I've learned and the more I've kind of revealed about it and the more I've gotten better at it, the more unnecessarily complicated it seems. Yeah. There's like all these interlocking systems, and you know how they had the topple system in the original Xenoblade, and that's in this game too. You know, the break, topple, launch, and all that stuff. Like, it's just like I literally don't pay attention to that at all, and it has no impact on my ability to kill things. It's just like an unnecessary system. I feel like just bloats the combat. That you don't, because if you want to build yourself in order to utilize that, you have to go way out of your way to do it. Like, you have to make very specific teams of blades with very specific characters to be able to pull those combos off. And I just like I've read online, it feels like it might be worth it if I went down that path. It's just like, dude, there's so much else to keep track of that it just seems like another thing that's like I don't want to care about it. You know? So I like the game, though. I think the thing is, I probably like X in the original more, honestly. I mean, I'm not done yet, but that's kind of where my feeling is right now. And I don't think this game's too far behind those, but it's behind in enough ways that I think this is probably my least favorite of the 3 they've done so far.
So you got what? So X1, then XX or XCX, and then X2?
So original... Basically in order they've come out.
Okay.
Original Xenoblade Chronicles, I think, is the best. The second one X is my second favorite, and this one is probably third. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think the combat in X way better, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was a lot more fun. Story in this game is better than X, but the story in this game is vastly inferior so far to me to what the original had.
Okay.
So it's kind of worse than both in the ways that they're good.
Yeah.
You know. So, and the original's combat was good too. Didn't have bad combat, so I actually like the combat in that one better than this. So yeah, So that is what I've been playing. So, jump into the news. It's interesting. It's kind of been a slow week, but we have a lot of things on the list here. So let's just go through them. This is probably one of the bigger ones. So Persona 5. Atlas has been teasing Persona 5R, Persona 5S for like months now, and people have been speculating what they are. People thought Persona 5S was going to be a Switch port of Persona 5. We'll get to that in a moment. So Persona 5R is Persona 5 The Royal. It is going to be an enhanced edition of Persona 5 that is coming to PS4. I think that's all. I don't think it's coming to Xbox. And it's going to add, it sounds like, per the usual with Persona, a significant amount of content, like a whole nother dungeon and from what I read, like a whole nother semester is getting added. A new character is getting added. Another one of the dungeons is getting added. So it sounds like it's going to be a lot. This is interesting for me because I haven't played Persona 5 yet and I really want to. But given this announcement, I might just wait and torture myself through a game that probably takes 200 hours to beat, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, you played Persona 5 a bit, right?
Yeah, I got like 30 hours into it.
Okay.
Yeah, 34 hours into it.
Are you going to pick this up, you think, or?
I was actually thinking about playing the original Persona 5.
And just finishing it?
Yeah, finishing it. But, I mean, if this is coming out, I might as well just wait till next year. I really wanted a Persona 5
on
Switch.
Yeah, so let's get into that. So Persona 5S is going to be freaking Musou game.
Yeah,
Dynasty Warriors game, if you don't know what a Musou is. This was, I'm sorry, one of the worst. This was a terrible announcement for me. I hate these games. I don't care for these games at all. Like, I have no interest in them whatsoever. People who like them, more power to you, but I would vastly prefer a Switch port of Persona 5 than this. I think a lot of people were upset about this, which is a little unjustified. I think people were kind of convincing themselves that Persona 5S was going to be a Switch port, which Atlus never said, ever indicated really, beyond the fact that there was an S in the name.
Yeah, Atlus did come out and say that Persona 5 itself is an exclusive to PlayStation.
Okay,
so
yeah.
That may, I don't know how long the exclusive deal is, but it may never come to Switch.
It may never come to Switch. Yeah, it's very possible it doesn't. I hope it does, because I really enjoyed Persona 4 Golden on Vita. Like that.
Yeah, Persona is one of those games. It's one of those long RPGs, like, you know, Xenoblade Chronicles and things of that nature, where I like to have it on in the background. I like to have something on in the background while I'm playing, or I can talk to somebody while I'm playing the game.
Yeah.
Because it's just a really long game. It does require your focus.
Yeah. But,
like, it's something about playing these long RPGs in front of a TV screen all day, because you don't have nothing else to distract you in the background.
Yeah.
And that may sound counterintuitive. Like, people are like, you got to pay attention to the battle system and the story.
No, I totally get you, man.
Yeah, like JRPGs for some reason are just one of those genres you just want to have in the background.
I know what you mean. Play. Like, I'm at a point in Xenoblade Chronicles where I want to stop and do some side quests. Yeah. And the side quests are not super engaging in that game.
Exactly,
so I might just turn a podcast on while I blow them out over a few hours. You know? Yeah. You know, the story part of it, like, I'm not going to listen to a podcast while I'm going through story.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. You can segment it in these games really easily.
Because most JRPGs are grindy. Yes, so you are grinding.
There are sections of the game where you don't really have to pay that much of attention.
Exactly, right? Yeah.
And this is a turn-based RPG, so you don't need that much focus. Like, it's not that hard. Yeah, and I think for me too, Persona is the perfect handhold game, because it is, you can really break it up into bite-sized chunks because of the way the day system works and the way you do activities and stuff, and in certain parts of the game. It's a perfect game to play on my break for an hour at work. You know, it's and that's exactly how I played Persona 4 Golden. Like, I would say half that game I beat just at work on my break. Like, it is a fantastic game for that. So I think it's much better than something like Xenoblade would be for that. I find that game difficult to pick up for like an hour. Yeah. But so I like Persona for that. So I really hope we get a Switch port at some point. But it depends.
It just makes sense to be on the Switch. I not to cut you off, but like it just, the Musou thing, or the Musou thing, like, that really, I didn't know about it.
It's kind of random. It feels kind of random to me.
But they've been doing that. A lot of games have been doing that with a lot of their IPs, and I don't know if it's
Dragon Quest, Zelda, Fire Emblem.
Is it like super lucrative in Japan, or like?
It must be. There is a pretty dedicated fan base for these games.
Okay.
They're mindless game. They're pretty mindless games, so I think they're popular in that sense. You know, I think because, I mean, I like grindy games. I like mindless games sometimes. You know, but they're just the style of the combat. I don't love the killing 1,000 enemies with one attack thing. It's just not a riveting style of gameplay for me.
Yeah, it was like when I was like 10 or 11.
Yeah, I mean, I maybe probably not for me. I've never really been interested in these.
I was really into Dynasty Warriors, but then
I never got into them. I never got into them. So so this is kind of disappointing to me, but it is what it is. I just find it odd, all of the Persona love that they've given Nintendo lately with having Joker and Smash. And
I think this is what it was for, though.
I mean, it is. Clearly, it is.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate because it kind of created an environment where people were misleading themselves.
Yeah.
And, you know, because we do that all the time as gamers. We get excited about something, we hear a rumor, and we think it's, you know, we think something's happening, and then we find out it's not. It's like, people are kind of in an uproar a little bit about this, and I think that's unfair to Atlus. You know, they can make whatever game they want to make on whatever platform they want to make it on. You know, that's their choice. But I think it's a little short-sighted of them to not put it on Switch, because I think they are probably underestimating how much demand there would really be for this game on Switch. Maybe it's a technical thing. Maybe they can't fit it. I don't know. But the fact that they're making a Musou on it in the same art style, I mean, I just find it hard to believe that they can't figure it out, you know?
Yeah, I mean, they can, if it was a issue of size, I mean, just do a Final Fantasy thing where you have like 2 or 3 cartridges, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, we're able, even though it's not the same size of game, but they are able to remaster Final Fantasy 11 or 12.
12, yeah.
And that game's massive, so
Yeah.
and that has like a realistic art style to it as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't know.
All right.
Oh well.
Moving on. So this is I kind of want to talk about this. I don't know how much you really care, but Days Gone came out today, day of recording. And reviews came out a couple days ago, and they are about what I was expecting. The Metascore right now is at 72. Fan score, user score is not really much better from what I can see. Yeah, it's 7.5 for user score. So the game, I've read a few reviews, and the game sounds about what I was expecting it to be. It's a fairly generic open world zombie game, and I do want to play it myself. However, I'm in a place right now where I just don't want to pay $60 for this.
Yeah,
and
it just doesn't look, in my opinion, it just doesn't look.
Yeah, and the videos I've watched, it just doesn't. There's just something about it that just doesn't look appealing. It's hard to explain.
It's like, because when I look at it, right, and
Yeah.
the art style they chose to go with is like the realistic art style,
Mm-hmm.
and when I look at it, it's just like, am I playing a poor man's
Last of Us.
Am I playing a poor man's Last of Us or
Assassin's Creed ripoff?
Yeah, I don't know what I'm playing, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
When I saw the trailer, the initial trailer for it, like 2 years ago, something like that,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh man, it looks cool, but like that craze has went down now. Like I don't really.
Well, they
care.
took too long to release it.
Yeah.
After revealing it, dude. Like, yeah, this got delayed once. It's been in development for a long time. It's from a studio that hasn't made a game since 2011, or hasn't released a game since 2011 in Uncharted Golden Abyss, and that was a Vita game. So they're not a AAA dev in the sense of Guerrilla or Naughty Dog or Sucker Punch.
Yeah,
you know,
like they're
really
mainly known for was the Siphon Filter
games. Yeah. And yeah, so I'm not using the reviews to make a judgment about this game. I'm kind of using it to inform my purchase info, I suppose. I'm watching because I've watched a decent amount of gameplay, and yeah, it's just at this point in time, I really want to finish Xenoblade. I want to keep playing Grim Dawn. I want to play Borderlands. Maybe even get back into the Division. I just got other games that are piquing my interest, and given how bad the new releases this year have been for the most part, how mediocre to bad they've been, I don't want to add another one to this right now. I just want to play some good games.
Yeah, you know what I think? I think this is going to be one of those games. I'm going to give it a chance, but I'm going to give it a chance when the PS5 comes out. I think it's going to be one of those remastered, re-release games on the PS5.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that. It is interesting though. Because I do believe Ben's future rests on this game's success.
I mean, from what it looks like people are buying it, so they may get like maybe 2 million copies by the end of the month, or not the end of this month, but in the next month.
Yeah.
So
it's just weird that to see the user score and the meta score so close. You usually don't see that on games, and that indicates to me that this game is truly kind of what people are saying it is.
Yeah. I don't really see any like bad stuff. Like a lot of people were saying like, oh, it's buggy, and that's just a couple user scores.
I heard that,
but. The game I'm really looking forward to is not really on this list, but I'm going to buy it next week. Is that World War Z, man?
Yeah, you're going for it?
Yeah,
you're going for it, man?
I'm going for it, man. I convinced everybody in my other group chat to buy it.
Okay, cool. I don't think I'm going to get it, but...
Yeah, man, it looks pretty cool.
Let me know how it is, man.
Yeah, man. It looks like my hold off for Left 4 Dead. So
yeah. Well,
I really love that game.
Report back if you actually play video games next week.
Okay.
Okay. So, in other news, BlizzCon 2019 tickets were... the date was announced, tickets went on sale, and they're more expensive than they were before. Okay. I wonder what what mobile game is Blizzard going to announce this year?
Now announcing StarCraft Galaxies.
Warcraft Adventures. Oh my god, man! Do you think D4's coming? Do you think they're going to announce it this year?
No, they're going to announce
D4.
D4.
You don't think so?
I think if they are, they're going to put it's going to be like a splash art, like D4.
You think so? Because dude, they were close to announcing it last year.
Like I said, if they do, Okay. Well, maybe they will. I forgot about that. So maybe they will do that. Yeah. But they gotta do something. They have to, because last year was a
Goodwill is in the toilet. I mean, they're a meme. They're straight up a meme at this point.
When does it start?
It's November. It's the same dates, I think.
I can't believe it's almost been a year.
November 1 and 2. It's only been half a year, 6 months.
Okay, but is that meme still alive and kicking?
Dude, this is Diablo. That's my point about their lack of self-awareness. I think I mentioned way back when we talked about this when we first started this podcast, dude. Their lack of self-awareness is astounding to me, because they don't understand. Do they not understand how big of a franchise like Diablo is? Dude, Diablo is freaking huge.
Yeah, I didn't realize how big it was until like this meme.
No, people underestimate, I think, how big Blizzard games actually are.
Yeah.
They are freaking huge. Like they their penetration into gaming is extreme. Like,
yeah,
and I think a lot of. It kind of annoys me that the way Blizzard's treated, I guess, by games media. Because I used to listen to a lot of gaming podcasts a few years ago.
Yeah.
And they would just, like, brush over Blizzard's games. They would brush over news about Blizzard like it wasn't really relevant. And I think it's just, like, it's really it annoys me because it shows how lacking in knowledge some of them are.
Yeah, now that you mention it, like, a lot of their games last long in quality. Like...
Yeah, that's the reason why they have a huge fan base, is they support their games for a long time. They're usually high quality, and if they're not good at release, they keep supporting them until they're good. Yeah. They don't just give up and abandon games.
There's still people playing Diablo 3, and that game came out like 7 years ago.
Warcraft 3. Dude, there's people playing Diablo 2.
Oh, yeah. Didn't they update a patch for Diablo?
Yeah, they did. Yes.
In Warcraft 3, right? They updated
but
patch.
that was for the remaster for that.
Okay.
But
still, though, like...
Yeah, dude. Like, dude, it's... So, they've always done that, and I think that's why they have a loyal fan base, because they stick with their games, and they make sure that they feel fun to play long after they've been released, you know?
Yeah.
And it just always annoyed me that the way games media kind of approaches Blizzard, and I think a lot of people in games media were surprised at the backlash to BlizzCon. I think that was what we talked about. I just felt like nobody really got it. They didn't understand what the level of investment that the fan base of Blizzard's games actually has into this company is.
So do you think it was a failure on like all their part, like the games media and Blizzard for not recognizing how big their IPs are?
The coverage for that was so shameful to me. The way they were like shaming people complaining about Diablo Immortal and going after people for asking questions and, you know, being upset, like it really represented games in a poor light to me, games media in a poor light. And I still feel that way now. I don't love, like, it's because Blizzard's always been a PC developer, and most games media, they don't play on PC. They don't play PC games.
Right. A lot of people just started to recognize Blizzard because of Overwatch. Because of Overwatch,
because they put themselves in the console market, and D3 as well, and they had never played any of their other games beforehand. To me, it frustrates me to hear them talk about Blizzard, because they just don't understand this company's legacy at all.
Yeah.
At all. Like, not in the slightest. And they're playing all the worst games that Blizzard's released. Like, they didn't play any of the good ones.
Yeah,
like StarCraft,
exactly.
Warcraft 3, World of Warcraft. Like, they didn't play any of those.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, there's plenty of games media who talk about PC gaming, but they're none of the big ones. You know? They're none of the huge ones, right?
Yeah.
And that definitely frustrates me. So,
yeah, I was surprised when a lot of people didn't... Well, which is funny. I don't really play Overwatch like that, but I did go back and play it for a little while.
Yeah.
One of the characters, Widowmaker, she had a Kerrigan skin. And I went back and bought the Kerrigan skin.
Yeah.
And my friend was like, all you play is Widowmaker. Why don't you play something else? I'm like, because I want to play Kerrigan.
You want
to... And he was like, who is Kerrigan? I'm like...
Dude, what?
But I was in the party chat with like 8 other people, right? And they're like, yeah, who's Kerrigan? I'm like, that's from StarCraft. What's StarCraft? I'm like, Blizzard made StarCraft. Y'all guys don't know what StarCraft is? How are y'all playing this game and y'all don't know? But you don't gotta know the history of Blizzard to play the game. But I'm like, how y'all don't know where these skins...
Dude, it's not even that old either. She was in StarCraft 2. She was one of the main charers in StarCraft.
Like you said, people don't play the PC games.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. Yeah, no,
and they released some other skins from like other franchises they had.
Yeah.
One of their side-scrolling games. I forgot. What was
Lost Vikings.
Yeah, I
played
that.
Was it Blackthorn?
Lost Vikings.
It was Lost Vikings.
Lost Vikings, yeah. Because I used to play that game a lot.
Yeah, that was one of the first games.
Yeah.
That was actually, I think literally was their first game.
Was it?
Was Lost Vikings.
Yeah, I think it was.
It might have been Blackthorn. I don't remember.
Okay.
I know Rock and Roll Racing was later. I
Okay.
think that was the third one they made. That was the one that got me into their stuff.
Yeah, because they got some Easter eggs for
the
Vikings on Overwatch, and a lot of people don't recognize it. And they got Easter eggs for like Warcraft, and StarCraft and stuff like that. Like in one of the tanks and one of the in one of the science labs on like Overwatch, they got a Zergling.
I find that frustrating in some ways, and in one way, I want more people to play Blizzard's games.
Yeah.
But it's frustrating to me that Overwatch is the game that brings everybody in, and that's the one everybody knows Blizzard for.
Yeah.
Because that is not... That has, I'm sorry, Overwatch is fun. I enjoyed it for a while.
Yeah, I did too.
But it's got nothing on StarCraft. It's got nothing on Warcraft 3. It's got nothing on World of Warcraft. Like, nothing, dude. And Diablo as well. Diablo and Diablo 2, it's got nothing on those games. I'm sorry. Like, level of quality to me is just way lower. I just don't view that game anywhere near the rest of them. So.
I agree. I mean, it's still a quality game, but as far as like story and stuff like that, that's what to me they were like the perfect company because like BioWare, they had a good story, but their gameplay was always kind of iffy. Yeah. But like Blizzard they had a good writing and they had a good gameplay to support the writing, and
because they were in such a good place, they were popular enough where they had enough money where they could just sit there and be like, hey, look, we know you're really excited about Warcraft 3, but we want to make sure this game is as good as it possibly can be before we release it. And that's what they would do with every game they made.
Yeah.
You know? In Overwatch, they made Overwatch in 2 years, and it showed. Yeah. It was a game that had, a bunch of fun characters to play in a few maps, and that was literally it.
Yeah.
And obviously they've spent a lot of time expanding upon that over the years since it came out, but that's not a justification for the launch state, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So... yeah, I mean, obviously, you can't expect every game they make to take 5 years of their time to make, and I don't have a problem with them releasing something like Overwatch, but it's just I think the problem is like Blizzard changed, unfortunately, somewhere in the last 5 to 7 years probably, and I mean, I saw it personally.
Yeah, a lot of these companies changed, and a lot of people don't really agree with, like, I mean, obviously I'm tired of beating a dead horse, but like, obviously like BioWare, right, where I know it's probably a slap in the face to like the older people, the veterans there, and they're like, man, this is just Dragon Age with guns or whatever, and they probably like, man, but I wrote like a really dope story for this, and those new people probably don't understand the legacy of BioWare and their dope stories they did have in their games. So I'm pretty sure like when Blizzard came out, when they were trying to make Titan and things of that nature, people were probably like, nah, man, this is just World of Warcraft, like WildStar or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And they probably were just like, all right, let's make a team shooter game. And then this for Blizzard, or that's where Overwatch came from. Because a lot of people get surprised by even just the story mode, or not the story mode, but the story behind Overwatch, the lore of it. People are like, man, this lore is really dope. I can't believe they have all this stuff, all the environments and all the stuff they're setting up and everything like that. I'm like, yeah, that's what Blizzard's is known
good at that
for.
stuff, man. Like, they're good at that stuff, dude. Warcraft 3 is one of the funniest things for me because I love that game and I love the story in that game, but the game came with a pretty large booklet. Like, it was like it wasn't an instruction manual. There was an instruction manual in there, but it was just a lore booklet. Literally, that's all it was. There was nothing else in there. And it, dude, I remember, as a kid, I sat down and just read the whole thing, and I was like enraptured. Like, it was so cool. It talked about like the inception of the universe and like the Titans and how Azeroth got created and who was involved like early on in Azeroth's kind of history and stuff like that, and the Night Elves and their history like 10,000 years prior to Warcraft 3's events and stuff, like things that happened with them, how there was a section of them that didn't, like, the Night Elves don't use magic. That's their thing, right? And then there was a section of them though that used magic, and those eventually were the High Elves, and they left. They just left Kalimdor and went to the Eastern kingdoms, and that's all. Like, a lot of that was detailed in there. It's such a cool backdrop for the events that happen in Warcraft 3.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of stuff, like, Blizzard is good at that, dude. They do it in Overwatch as well. The problem is that Overwatch, for me, didn't have any of that in the game.
Yes,
And
you have
there's
to
no
go outside.
story mode.
Yeah.
There's no story mode. There's nothing really.
I didn't like that at all.
Yeah, that's the frustrating part of it. It was a Destiny situation where all the cool lore is outside the game.
Yeah.
You know, it's like.
I mean, people liked it though. I mean, but I was like, And unfortunately, like a lot of the team shooter MOBA games, they kind of do that. They have the lore outside of the game.
Yeah, they're trying not to bog the game down, I guess. But at the same time, it's like I kind of want to know why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, like
you know?
like League of Legends, for example. Even though that's just like a Summoner's Rift arena type game.
Yeah.
Thing I see a difference in between that. They have like they don't really include the Summoner's Rift thing. They're like, okay, you play these champions, whatever.
Yeah.
But here's why these champions wear these particular costumes, or here's why this champion does this, or when they interact with another champion, this is why they say that. So you get all the lore outside of it, and that's cool.
Yeah.
Whereas with like the difference between Overwatch is you go into these you have different levels.
Yeah. Yeah.
So each level has like some kind of lore tied into it.
100%.
And you got to look at the comics and stuff to understand that, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and that was all kind of hidden in the background. And I always liked, like, the levels had, like, you were in a country, right?
Yeah.
And there were certain characters associated with that country. And in certain levels that, like, are from their country, like, that would be, they'd have some voice lines or stuff like that, like, associated with that level. It'd be cool. You know, it'd be cool stuff like that, but... and that's true in the MOBAs as well. Dota's like that, and so is League, where certain characters, when they're in the game together, they'll say things to each other when you do stuff. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Dota's like that. There's plenty of characters where they're like I'm trying to remember. Kunkka is the pirate guy in that game. And there's a few characters that interact with him and stuff, and they'll say things to him. That's true for, like, every character in the game.
Yeah,
you know? There's certain combinations of characters that they have a history together that's not explained in the game, but it's in the lore somewhere on the internet. You know, it's like it's a cool thing, but I kind of wish it was more visible within the game. Like, I don't want to have to go to a website.
Yeah, I don't know how Overwatch does it, but I know with like League and Dota, they usually have a client where they're like, "Hey, this is the latest lore that just came out," so you can click it there. So technically, that is kind of like within their network. But like I said, I don't know how Overwatch does it with. They may have the same thing, but I don't know.
They didn't at first.
Yeah,
so.
they definitely
may have
didn't.
changed that though.
Yeah,
I mean, I haven't played the game in years, so. But yeah, fair enough. I mean, I put that in there as like a joke story, and we just turned that into like a huge topic.
Yeah,
that was. Yeah.
Well, the tickets though. Let's talk about the ticket prices real quick.
Oh, what? Yeah, what were the ticket prices? You said they were originally $500 for general admission, and now they're what? Like $700?
Okay, like oh my goodness, let me get this out of my way here.
Yeah, so Blizzard increased the price. They've been. I don't know what the price has been because I've never looked. I don't care to go to BlizzCon. As much as I love Blizzard, I'm not flying out to Anaheim to go.
All right, so it said that for a BlizzCon pass is $230.
$230?
Yep, $230
for the 2 days.
Yes.
Okay.
For the BlizzCon Portal Pass, it's $550.
Okay. What does that get you though?
It doesn't really mention. Okay, the BlizzCon actually does. BlizzCon gets you in the door access. Get you in the door and access to pregame festivities and everything of that nature, and you get some goodies like a statue and things of that nature.
What do they mean by pregame? Like you don't get to go into the conference?
Well, there's probably like events that happen before.
Yeah.
Like so for cons and stuff like that, some of the cons have certain events.
Yeah.
Say like it's on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Yeah. So like people who pre-ordered or who got like the BlizzCon portal thing, pay a little extra, they can go to the Thursday show.
Well, it's not a little extra; it's a lot extra.
Yeah, they pay extra and they can go to the Thursday stuff where they're like some people are like setting up stuff, or you can do like a meet and greet and things of that nature. So whatever they got set up for this, this will be that. And
so $550 for the portal pass.
$550 for the portal pass.
Okay.
And then the BlizzCon dinner or the BlizzCon benefit dinner pass is $750.
Oh my god!
So the dinner pass is like the ultimate package. You get a charity dinner event for BlizzCon where you meet and greet with the developers, artists, and other Blizzard people, along with other perks mentioned above. You also get a dinner for a children's charity. Mm-hmm. So from what I'm getting though, if you do get the regular BlizzCon pass, you still have to pay another $200. Wait, hold on. Oh, okay. Never mind. It said in 2018 it was only $200 to get in, so it went up by $30. That's not bad.
That's not crazy.
Yeah, but I'm not paying $200.
I mean, that's what I'm saying though. Yeah, $200, like, because then you got to fly there. You have to pay for hotels. Like, it's a lot of money, dude. Yeah. Like, if I lived local, I'd totally go. Yeah, I'd probably totally go.
Because when we went to Anime Expo, which is like the biggest anime convention last year, I think I spent up like $700 for the room ticket and for the plane ticket.
My God.
Yeah.
That was for what, like 2 or 3 days?
Yeah, about three. Actually, we went for about 4 days. Mm-hmm. So.
Fair enough, man. Oh boy. Yeah. Well, BlizzCon, I'm hotly anticipating it now. Like what they did last year, I'm in, dude. I can't wait to watch.
I think they're going to be a lot more careful.
I think this will be a much better show.
Yeah.
I really do think D4 is going to be there.
What, you guys don't have phones?
I think, I really do think D4 will be there, and maybe something else. I know they're working on more than one. They're working on a lot of games right now. Will they show Diablo Immortal at all, though?
No, I mean, they may have it in the booth somewhere, like, for people, but I don't think they're going to, like...
You think they're just going to hide it?
Yeah, they may have it on the floor, like, a booth somewhere, but I don't think they're going to advertise it.
Yeah, because they never announced the release date. Is it supposed to be released before next year's BlizzCon?
It was supposed to be released this year. It was supposed to be released, like, in the springtime, I believe. Okay,
because we haven't heard anything, as far as I know, about release details.
I wouldn't touch it with the 5-foot pole. Like,
I think they're trying to get real distant from BlizzCon before they talk about it again. Yeah. Alrighty, so let's move on. Following up our topic of the show last week, so there was an interesting quote that was not used in the article that the author of the article actually posted after the fact, after we talked about this. And it was a quote about the PS5's price. So he was asked if the PS5's price would be similar to the PS4, and his reply was, the price of the PS5 will be appealing in light of its advanced feature set. And this was interesting because I think it's obvious that it's going to be more than $400. And it makes me wonder how high it's going to go.
So I think it's going to be like around $600 or $599 like the original PS3 was.
I mean, we were talking about it, and as I said, I think $599 is a taboo price. They can't set that as the price because they will get instantly eviscerated by the internet.
Really?
Yeah, because the PS3... I mean, the PS3's price is a meme. The release of that was like that has gone down in history as like one of the worst reveals of a console ever. You know, where they were like $599, you'll take out a second job for this, you know, and all that. Ridge Racer and all that, and the giant enemy crabs and all that BS. That was all from that. So. They probably will avoid that price point. I think if they want to hit 600, they'll probably just do 589 or something like that.
I can't believe they said that.
Yeah,
he was taking out a second job.
Dude, Tony was so full of themselves coming off the PS2, dude. Like it was something else. Like
wow.
I mean, it was the same way Xbox was. You remember that garbage?
Oh my god, 2013.
Dude, these companies sometimes they need to get their heads on straight.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I think it's gonna be around. Okay, well, 550 then.
You think you were thinking 600?
I was thinking 600, but they may do a 550.
Well, I mean, they could do 589 or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's still going to be 600.
589.99.
Yeah, with
like
tax.
Or 574.99, something like that.
That might be more. I have been seeing certain companies do like 579. I think the Switch was released like 279.
No, it's 300. It's 299.
Oh, it's 299?
Yeah,
okay.
299.99.
Well, dang, what was the 279?
You might have been thinking of the 3DS. That was originally released at I think it was $249, and then they brought it down to $169.99.
Okay.
That was one of the weird ones. So I think what he's saying here doesn't surprise me. I think we talked about it last week. I think I said something around 500. Thinking about it more after I hear this comment, I think more than 500 probably does sound right, given that it's going to have an SSD and they're talking about 8K and all this stuff. Like, this thing is going to be very, very powerful.
I mean, good thing about it is it's going to be backwards compatible,
Yeah.
so you can turn in your PS4, take
Well,
off some stuff.
I really wanted to spin this into I don't really care about the price of this in a vacuum too much. I kind of wanted to spin this more into a conversation of what should our expectations as gamers be at this point for console price, you know? I know the PS4 and the Xbox One have spoiled us this generation, and the Switch as well, because $400 for what the PS4 is when it was launched was actually like a fantastic price in my opinion. And the fact that you can get a PS4 now for like $200 and an Xbox One S for like $180, you know,
Well, I think
it's crazy.
I think the technology has gotten better and also cheaper. So
Yeah.
as a primarily a console gamer, I say on the high end 600, but realistically, I want it to be 500.
Yeah.
I don't expect the 499 or 399.
So 500 is the limit, you think?
I think 500 is the limit.
Now, is that for you personally, or what you think the market would take?
I think the market would take 500. I don't think they would take.
I am with you. I think personally, I'm willing to pay more. I don't. If the power is as good as high as Cerny talked about, and is going to be as impressive as he made it sound like, I'm willing to pay $600 for that.
I mean, I am too, but I think the market.
I am with you though. I just don't think gamers are ready to pay more for a console. The thing is, though,
because especially after this console generation, it was up and down. It was too topsy turvy, and I think a lot of people, even though it's still fresh, even though it's about 5 or 6 years now, it's still fresh in my minds when the first consoles released and there were hardly any games for them.
Yeah,
or the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
Especially because backwards compatibility wasn't there, so we didn't have anything to play on these new consoles.
Yeah.
Like I said, that may change because of the backwards compatibility, and I think both companies learned their lesson on how important that is to a game's library, because it can potentially increase your library.
Yeah.
So I just think 600 is there. I would pay for it. Me and you would pay for it, but a mom, I don't think she would shell out $600.
Well, I think younger people wouldn't pay that.
Oh yeah, college students.
Well, I just think
definitely would
gamers in general too have gotten used to not having to pay that much. Like, dude, as I said, the consoles have been like $250 or under for a couple of years. The cheap ones.
Have you looked at the old consoles, like the Super NES prices and stuff when they were announced way back when? They were outrageous.
They were pretty expensive, yeah. No, they were. But that's my point about this is actually these consoles, with adjusted for inflation, are way cheaper than what those were back in the day, relatively speaking. So that's kind of my point about this is at some point, shouldn't we expect the consoles to start costing us $600? Given inflation and all that? And if this thing is really pushing technology as much as it, for consoles, at least, it's pushing hardware technology. It's hard to say.
It's hard to say. I feel like the technology is a lot cheaper than it was back then as well.
It is, relatively speaking. Yeah,
so that's
totally,
why
absolutely.
That's why I'm like selling at the 500, just because me and you are in technology and we know how cheaper it was to get a hard drive, a terabyte hard drive, than it is to get 1 gig of hard drive back then. Yeah. So
totally.
So that's why I feel like it would just be a lot cheaper. I do, however, feel like they may do one thing which other consoles didn't do. They may do this thing where they have like a gold standard console and then a silver standard console.
I was going to mention that, yeah. So you think there could be multiple levels? There's like a $600 level and then a $450 or $400 or even $500 level.
Yep, I think they're going to do that. I don't know how they're going to do it, but they could do that.
I find that interesting because the PS3 actually did have that, and so did the Xbox 360, if you remember.
Yeah.
The only difference was...
Was it on launch?
Yes. It was hard drive space, though.
Oh, yeah,
the original... Right. So the $600 version, I think had a 250 gig hard drive, and then the $500 one only had like a 60 gig or something like that.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's hilarious that they charge you $100 extra for that.
Yeah.
At that point in time, but... so what do you think would be different about a lesser version? You think it would just be space, or?
Well, do you think how far do SSDs go up to now as far as space?
Oh, I mean, there's 2 terabyte, 4 terabyte.
Yeah, I think they're gonna either drop one that's like maybe a 500 gig version.
Yeah.
SSD, and then they're gonna drop one that's maybe a. Now this is just me guessing.
Yeah.
They may do like a 1 terabyte thing, and then they may do like a 4 terabyte version. I think that's.
Nah, there's no way they'll do 4 terabyte. Those are expensive. I think 1 terabyte is the limit of what we'll get.
Okay.
In an SSD. So do you think it's just space though, or do you think we could see performance differences as well? More of like I hope
that they don't do that.
Like more of a PS4 Pro to regular PS4.
Yeah, I don't want them to do that. I mean, they could, but I don't think they should.
Okay.
This early, especially like the first lines.
You think people wouldn't like that?
No, because it will kind of split. I don't want to say split the player base, but
it would almost be pointless, right? Because it's like you have to make the games for the lowest common denominator of your hardware. So
I think what consoles should do and what they should do this generation. I didn't mind the mid generation upgrades.
No, I didn't either. I don't think it's been that big of a deal.
Yeah,
I don't think it's necessarily worth it personally, but. Given the fact that I have a Pro, it's not super... I mean, it's nice because the interface is faster and games load a little quicker and, you know, they look a little bit better, but it's just not... It's not necessarily worth the price that it costs. But I think, to me, like... do you think they could do something like... Say they have a $600 version that has a terabyte SSD, and then they'll have a $450 version that has a... 500 gigabyte SSD, and then it has no disk drive.
Okay, I can see that.
It's digital only, but it's a significant drop off in price, like 400 or 450.
I can see that.
Yeah,
I think that's what Xbox is testing right now.
Because that's what I'm thinking. Because it's like that would be reasonable to me, and I think like taking a third of the price off, where you have the same level of power, but you lose the ability to buy physical games, and you have half the space. I think that's like it's almost counterintuitive because if you're going to do digital only, you want more space.
Yeah.
But maybe you make it easy for people to replace the hard drive, you know, the SSD, and then people can put in a 2 terabyte if they want, you know, 1 terabyte.
My only thing with that is how they handle the backwards compatibility. Maybe I guess you lose that.
It would be only with digital games you have digitally on PS4.
Okay.
So your physical games you wouldn't be able to use them.
So that would be the drawback.
Maybe they could create a system. Maybe they could create a system is that if you have a physical game, you can get some kind of token on your account that indicates you own it on PlayStation, on PSN, because that's not how it's done right now. If you have a physical copy of a game, it's not ever tied to your account in any way. That's why you can still trade them in, you know, trade them into like GameStop or whatever. So I could see something like that. I would actually be interested. I would like to see them do that if they did a digital only version of the console.
Yeah, that would be very interesting.
So it gives them. It's interesting. I don't know. I will be really. I'm really looking forward to the reveal whenever it happens. There was some news too that came out today that they confirmed that the console won't be out in the next 12 months. I mean, I think we all could have guessed that. Yeah. It's really not a big surprise, but it was kind of making the rounds. So I just wanted to mention it. But
yeah, I didn't think it was gonna come out this holiday season at all.
Not at all, dude. No way.
Yeah, that's totally unrealistic if you were thinking that.
They did say though that PS4 sales are actually starting to slow down a little. So
yeah, I mean,
not a surprise. It's been on the market for 6 or 5.5 years, so it's kind of an expectation. But
I mean, I was gonna buy a PS Pro, but I don't think I'm gonna do it anymore.
You're just gonna grit your teeth through.
Oh man, that my PlayStation 4 is so done,
dude. That's why I got the Pro, man. Mine was over it. It was over, dude. Like it was done. It couldn't do it anymore. Like the thing, booting up would be fine, but then once I was actually in the PS4 interface, it was so freaking slow. It would just lock up all the time.
Yeah.
It was, oh god. So I'm glad I have a Pro for that reason, but I am looking forward to PS5. Really am. So, all right, let's move on. This one is probably more interesting to you. So it was announced by Capcom that DLC or Devil May Cry 5 is not gonna be getting any more DLC. They got the free Bloody Palace at the beginning of this month, and they're not doing any other DLCs for the game. No paid or free or otherwise.
So
how do you feel about that?
I don't feel good about that.
Yeah, because I know when we talked about it when it first came out, I was under the assumption that this game was definitely getting some DLC.
Yeah, me
given
too.
the reception.
What I think they're going to do is what they have done with every other Devil May Cry in the past.
Yeah.
Since 3. Is release a special edition, so you always have
with some added content.
Yeah, they always have
a Kingdom Hearts Final Mix thing.
Yeah, they always have added content. They nerf and buff some enemies and things of that nature.
Yeah.
And then they release also like a character. So like for Devil May Cry 3, you just played as Dante, but and then Devil May Cry Special Edition, he got additional weapons. There's some additional modes, and you can play as Virgil. And then Devil May Cry 4, you just played as Dante and Nero. Then Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition, you had Lady and Trish you can play as.
Okay.
Oh, and Virgil as well.
Yeah.
And they just added some cutscenes here and there.
Okay.
So I'm assuming with Devil May Cry 5, because there's one part in the game, spoiler alert, where like Lady and Trish kind of split off and do their own thing.
Yeah.
And then you meet them at that point and they're already like kind of down, but there is a certain point they have to go to just to get to that.
Yeah, so you could have made that a DLC.
That's what a lot of people were speculating. A lot of people were speculating like, hey, well, we're gonna
sort
play
of like Final Fantasy 15. Right?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
So and then people wanted to see how Virgil got to where he got to in the game as well. Oh, spoiler alert! Virgil's in the game. But
sorry everybody, he just spoiled the game.
Yeah, I'm sorry guys. But yeah, so I wanted to know more about that, and then it was like a teaser at the end of the game where him and Dante fight in hell with each other.
So I mean, what do you think happened, dude? Like, do you think internally like the game didn't sell well enough, or
no? I think it sold really good. I just think they're probably gearing up for the next one.
You think they're just going right into the next game?
Yeah, I think it sold well and. I mean, it got great reception.
If that's true, does you okay with that? Would you rather have DLC or?
I mean, I'd rather have DLC.
Really? Okay.
I mean, don't go immediately into the next game. Like, let it kind of linger on, support it a little bit.
Yeah.
And then go into the next game.
Yeah, I mentioned this before. Like, I like that Borderlands stock cadence of DLC where you're like kind of supporting the game for like a year after it comes out. And you're really making it robust. You know, it has a lot of content to it. So that, it's interesting. As an outside observer, this actually makes me more likely to probably play this game at some point, though, because it's not daunting. It's like I could probably play this in 10 or 15 hours.
Yeah.
You know, there's not a ton of extra stuff for me to do.
Yeah.
So, but this is actually, like, I kind of consider this pretty big news, honestly. I didn't see this making the rounds too much, but considering how well received this game was, I was pretty surprised by this personally. All right, moving on. The fight between the Epic Store and Steam continues. So this week, the Epic Games CEO kind of called Valve out. He basically said they would stop pursuing exclusivity deals with these developers if Steam or Valve would lower their share on Steam down to 12% like they do, and they would stop doing exclusivity deals. So this is I find this really funny because this dude Tim Sweeney is just so vocal out there. Like, he's constantly talking shit, dude.
Yeah,
he doesn't stop. And this was kind of the one for me that just like makes me laugh because I'm like okay, I know what you're trying to do here. Like, you're trying to make this like everything better for all of these developers, but I bet if Valve actually acquiesced to this request and lowered their revenue share to 12%, you think Epic would stop? You actually think Epic would really stop doing exclusivity deals? Hell no. Their leverage would go out the effing window, you know?
I just think it's weird how corporations are smack talking each other. They know they have their fanboys, and then their fanboys are like smack talking each other too.
Yeah,
and I just think it's weird. I mean, obviously, Xbox and Sony kind of ended that feud with each other. Yeah, because they always congratulate each other on new release games and stuff like that, or they were trying to die it down because it was really bad for console gamers. But it's like now, you know, PC is supposed to be that safe haven that, hey man, we don't really got any exclusives, but now it's like. They're like at the birth of where console gamers were. I know a lot of console gamers now who are just like, I got all 3 consoles, or I got these 2 consoles, and that's all I need. Yeah, and they don't really be like, oh, you got an Xbox, you're trash, or you got a PS4, you trash. Now it's like everyone's like, you know, we're all together playing video games. We just want video games to succeed. But it's funny that PC now is at the the birth of their war. Like,
Yeah.
and it's kind of funny looking back at it. You're like, man, were we like this? Like, and we were.
Oh, for sure. Well, so here's the quote. This was on Twitter. He posted this on Twitter. I quote, "If Steam committed to a permanent 88% revenue share for all developers and publishers without major strings attached, Epic would hastily organize a retreat from exclusives while honoring our partner commitments and consider putting our own games on Steam. Such a move would be a glorious moment in the history of PC gaming and would have a sweeping impact on other platforms for generations to come. Then stores would go back to just being nice places to buy stuff rather than the game developer IRS." And
Woo.
I mean he's that's a shot across the bow, you know, like he's
that is a bitch move, but it's a really good bitch move.
Yeah, I mean he's really taking it to Steam. The thing is,
they have to respond.
What he's implying too is that this would affect consoles, because consoles have a similar split to Steam. Like Xbox Live and PSN, there's a 30% revenue split. Like, if you sell your game digitally on PSN, Sony gets 30% of what...
Damn, that's a lot.
Yeah, and that's the same as what Valve does. So I think that's where Valve got the whole thing from. Or maybe they're the ones who set the trend, actually, because they came out before PSN did, and Xbox Live, really. But maybe they're the ones who set the trend, or maybe this kind of happened last generation and really kind of settled at 30%. Who knows? I don't really know. But
do you think this is why they don't like to release digital numbers?
Maybe it's possible, because then people could kind of extrapolate how much money they're making.
Yeah,
for sure. Because if you take physical sales, which are reported generally, and then these, people could kind of calculate how much revenue these companies are making, and I don't think they want that out there, really. Yeah. So, which is fair to them, but I feel like it's disingenuous of him to indicate that Epic would all of a sudden give up market share that they've gained over the course of the last 5 months if Valve decided...
I mean, they're their own company now, right? They're not owned by Tencent anymore, right?
They're not owned by Tencent. Tencent's just their biggest investor. They're not actually... I don't think they're actually owned by them. Okay. They have no impact on the decision-making. Sweeney said that in the past. Like, they're the biggest investor they have, but they don't own Epic. Okay. So, I think I don't know. I may have gotten that wrong in the past. I don't quite remember what I've said, but if I have, I'm pretty sure he kind of corrected the record on that. So I think it's a little disingenuous of him though to kind of suggest that they would just not back out of the market entirely, but stop being as aggressive as they are. Like if at this point, say Valve did lower their share to 12% and gave developers 88%. Epic would be okay. The Epic Store would probably be okay. I think they would be up against it. They'd have a hard time retaining their aggressive market share that they've gained over the past few months. Because of the fact that their store is so lacking in features compared to Steam. I think they'd still have a chance to become a big player, but it would be difficult for them. If Valve had done this 5 months ago, I don't think Epic would have ever had a shot, you know?
I think what's going on is maybe this whole exclusivity thing is affecting them kind of negatively. They're starting to see the blowback from it.
Oh, he's trying to turn the narrative, for sure. He's trying to make Valve the bad guy. Yeah. Right? Because gamers hate Epic right now. They're so tired of this, right?
Yeah, and I think that's what he's trying to do, like you said, like... Because there isn't any other reason. I'm trying to think of reasons why they would want... I mean, they could just be kind-hearted and want to look out for developers.
Because he knows they're not going to do this. Yeah. Like, we all know they're not going to do this. They're not going to do this.
Yeah, I mean, if they do it's going to be like 5 years from now because it's how slow they move.
Yeah, Valve doesn't... They're not going to respond either. Valve, they don't... They've shown so far they don't believe they need to do anything.
And that company is wild.
They are wild. I've said this in the past. I think they run Steam like it's an annoyance to them. Like they're annoyed that it is as successful as it is, and they actually have to adhere to laws and upkeep it and do all this stuff with it. Like I think it's an annoyance to that company, and it's like it drives me nuts because they're one of the most they're like successful in spite of themselves. It's like some fun thing they spun up 15 years ago. They're like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we made like a digital storefront on PCs? And then all of a sudden it took off and they're like, shit, we gotta do refunds and like pay taxes on this revenue, and it's like, and we have to actually have staff to like support it.
Yeah, so they're probably sitting there like, man, shut up. We wanted you guys to win.
That's what I was saying, man. I sneakily conspiracy theory feel like Valve just wants them to win, like, and just take it over. Be like, look, dude. For sure, yeah. We got plenty of money in the bank. We're good. We don't need Steam anymore. Like, and they could actually go back to developing video games.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing is, like, this company, like Valve, they drive me nuts because they went from being a game developer to being a hardware developer that barely makes any games. Like, the last game they released was Dota, or actually Artifact, which was a horrible game and is like probably going to close at some point in the next year. But then before that was Dota 2. It's like they don't make games anymore. They're not a game company. They don't make video games really, dude. Like, they haven't for a long time. They dabble in hardware, which they've made, like the Steam controller, the Steam Link. They have a little VR headset that supposedly they've been working on. They tried those Steam boxes and all that stuff. Like, they dabble in hardware all the time, and from a software perspective, they make Steam, and they enhance Steam, and that's kind of what they are. So it's like interesting. Steam has almost inadvertently created that environment for them to change, where they don't have to make any video games. Like, they don't. They could just F around.
I think
forever.
they kind of want to make video games.
No, I don't either. If they did, they would. It's like,
I know what I'm saying. I think they do want to make them. I think they just can't right now. They have too much investment into other technology.
I think that's BS. I think they could. If they wanted to make a game, they can make a game. They have plenty of money, dude. Like,
I think they're more like, they're silently like EA. They want to make a game that's going to be lucrative, like Dota is.
Yes, dude. Artifact literally is the canary in the coal mine with that. That game was microtransaction ridden. It was horrifying, and they killed that game because of the monetization scheme was so gross and like player unfriendly. And they kind of tipped their hand almost. And it's interesting. I would love to see like a Jason Schreier article about Valve and really what's going on in there and kind of what their priorities are as a company, what they're trying to do. Are they kind of a revenue chasing company now? They really want to make a ton of money. Has Steam kind of made them greedy? Or are they, like you were saying, are they like sick of Steam? Do they want to kind of get rid of Steam so they can like make games again? Or are they just want to kind of F around because they have a ton of money and they can do whatever they want,
I mean, a lot of companies have been surprising us this year. Like, so that may be it. Maybe they're making too much money now. Where they're just like, you know what? Yeah. Listen, we don't even care anymore. And I feel like this right here, they're just like, all right, man, why did you do that? Like, they're probably in their board meeting like, why did you do that?
Like, take Borderlands 3. It's fine.
Just take it.
Just have it.
Bro.
You can have Anno 1800. It's fine. It's all good, dude. We got Dota.
You see how ravenous these people are?
We have all these.
You can have them. We don't want them anymore.
We have all these asset flips that, make money.
They're probably just tired of their community. Like, they're probably tired of it, man. It's just like,
probably. I mean,
it is cancerous. I mean, Steve. If you guys have, Steam is the most cancerous thing. It's not the most cancerous, but
I mean, Dota and League are the most cancerous, so they have that as well. Though they deal with that too. It's like,
if you read some of the Steam reviews for these games,
I don't know.
Ridiculous.
Maybe that's why they're so silent. They don't want to deal with anybody. Like, if they revealed Half-Life 3, they would like the hype would be insane. But then when the game actually released, they would get destroyed. I would guarantee you the game would not live up to expectations.
It won't.
It's impossible. It's impossible for them to make the game that everybody has in their heads.
If they are to release it or announce it, they have to announce when they start development on the game. They have to
set expectations. Be like, look, guys, we've been working on this for 2 years. It's not coming out anytime soon. You know, we really want to make a quality game, but you know, just bear with us, okay?
We have not been working on it for this amount of time, you know. Since the last,
because that's what people would say. That's the quotes, right? Because Half-Life 2 came out in 2004, so they'd be like Half-Life 3. They've had 20 years to work on this game. And it's like, no, they haven't. You know, because people have started saying that about Kingdom Hearts, like, oh, they had 13 years to make Kingdom Hearts 3. It's like, no.
They only had like legitimately 5 years.
They actually
to make that
did it. It was working on it for 7. Let's be realistic about it, you know. But people would say that about Valve for sure, dude.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
100%, man. 20 years
you
to
had
make
since
this game.
2004.
And this is what you released? I can see the angry tweets now.
Oh,
like,
my God.
Oh, man. That's the thing. I want them to announce that game.
But you know what? I just thought about it, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people who play Half-Life, they are like our age. These new gamers don't even know what Half-Life is.
Yeah, they're like 15.
Yeah,
dude, some of these kids like were born when Half-Life came out, like Half-Life 2. For real, man. Like, we gotta keep that in perspective when we talk about this stuff, man.
Yeah.
Like some of the gamers out there now are young enough where, dude, they legitimately don't know what StarCraft is because they were not born when it came out. You know, it's like that was 20.
And then if they look at those games, they're like, wow, man, these graphics are terrible.
That was 21 years ago. StarCraft came out, 1998. Okay, that's a long time. That's a full adult. Think about that. And when we're only 30, like you're 30, I'm 29. Like it's not like I was 8, you know? Like I was cognizant enough to be able to play that game.
You know what? I didn't even play that game when it first came out. I
did.
I played it like 4 or 5 years after it came out.
I was hardcore PC gamer when I was 8 years old, okay? I was playing StarCraft, I was playing Warcraft 2.
No one cares.
Man. I was so much more hardcore than I am now. It's so funny to me. Like,
yeah, because you play your PlayStation 4 all the time.
Casual now, like, dude. It's like past me, like young me would look at me and be like, "Ugh, what happened to you?" Oh,
you know what? Yeah, I think my younger self would look at me like, "Yo, what are you playing?"
Oh yeah. I think young me would look at me though and be like, "Yeah, you're about as fat as I thought you'd get."
I don't think so.
Alright, let's move on. So game announcements, release dates. Super Mario Maker 2 was dated. It is coming on June 28th. That is a couple weeks after E3, so I'm sure we'll get some trailers at E3 for that.
Cool.
Did you ever play Mario Maker? The first one?
Yeah, it was very fun to play the hard, difficult levels that people made. Yeah.
I didn't pick it up. I hated my Wii U by that point, so...
Yeah, I mean, it was like $20 when I bought it. I bought it on sale, so...
Okay, fair enough. I doubt I'll buy this, but it's a cool concept, though. I wish more companies would just copy this straight up. You know, like, I wish Capcom would do a Mega... Like, because that was supposedly what was in the works. They were doing a Mega Man Maker, you know, in the same vein
people
of
make
this.
some crazy levels for him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Dude, that was in the works, and then Inafune left Capcom and they canceled all those freaking games, and that was one of them supposedly, and that's so depressing to me, dude. Like, man, a Mega Man Maker, I would play the hell out of that. Okay,
that dude's such a fraud,
dude.
Man.
You give me Mega Man, the original Mega Man. I don't care about those, but Mega Man X, you let me make Mega Man X, Mega Man Zero levels.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I'm in, baby. Like,
I think you're right. I think like all the 2D platformers, like even
they should all be doing it.
Yeah, even some of the 3D platformers like Crash or Spyro. Like,
dude, Banjo, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Banjo Maker, that'd be cool to see what people come up with for those games.
And you gotta give it like the updated graphics. You just give us the 64 graphics.
The thing about Banjo too, like, oh my god, that sounds so cool to me. Banjo Maker, like almost like a Little Big Planet for Banjo.
Yeah, man, that'd be cool.
Right, where people can make their own levels, and those games were text-based games, so you can make your own game basically, make your own version of Banjo. Like, that'd be man.
One can dream, man.
What we could have. So, next game. This one, I literally just saw a picture of this, and I just decided to put it in here because it like looks cool.
Oh god!
It's called Black Sad Under the Skin, and it's a detective game, where the characters are anthropomorphic house cats.
Oh my god!
And the cat in the picture is wearing a suit. And a trench coat, a detective trench coat.
That's not. That's cute.
This is coming out on September 26th.
The thing that I am thinking about is instantly the furry community. And we're thinking,
why do you do that with everything, man? You do that with everything related to animals.
What they're gonna
every time. Are you a closet furry, Montrell?
No.
Are you closet furry, man?
No. I follow people on Twitter, and some of them are like.
Well, stop following them, then.
They're cool people.
What are you doing to yourself?
They're cool people, man. But it's just like
they're furries though. They're furries though.
Sometimes, man. Okay. Sometimes they just go too far at the furry shit.
Going too far?
Yeah.
What do they post? What kind of thing? Just give me an example. Just give me an example. Just give me one example. This is an explicit show. We're fine. What is it? Give me something that's like not like crazy heinous. Like just like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sonic, right?
Okay.
So, I'm about to give you 2 examples.
Okay.
Someone posted, like, I don't know, some weird diaper fetish with, like, tails.
Oh, no.
And he like, soiled his, he shit his diaper. And, like, people in the...
What? What is happening? Where are these places on Twitter? I don't...
People in the comments be like, I wish I could smell that diaper.
What is wrong with us? God, whatever God is up there, kill us all, please.
Oh my God.
Okay, what's the second example?
And then the second one for Sonic as well.
Okay, what a surprise. I know Sonic is popular in this community.
It makes me so ashamed to be a Sonic fan. But
oh, no.
Yeah, people have a weird obsession with his feet and how his feet smell.
Yeah.
So
what?
Yes. So he is.
What is happening?
So people would draw like very detailed like drawings like
of his feet.
His feet. Like, and these people could be like fucking like game artists. Like the level of detail they put into the feet, and then the same comments like, man, I know those feet feel soft. I know those feet are smelly. I want to smell those feet. So they
have 2 fetishes going on in the same thing: foot fetish and a furry fetish.
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
Yes.
Oh, this is crazy, dude.
And then like.
I'm glad that you don't like any of these things.
I don't,
because if they showed up on my feed,
I don't. I
might have to
scroll right past it. I scroll right past it, and like I can mute people, right? So like even I mute people, so I won't like unfollow them because like some of them interact with me and stuff. So. And they they listen to the podcast and stuff like that. So, but still, like,
so we're like trashing them right now.
No, because they trash my shit too.
Look,
so
I'm not trashing anybody. Whatever you're into, you're
funny.
into, dude.
It's
funny. It is funny. No, it is funny.
But it started like it didn't start on Twitter. It started when I used to.
Of course, it didn't start on Twitter.
Yeah, it started when or I noticed it. I first discovered it by accident when. I used to like do like hand drawings with like different characters and stuff. Okay. Not like in explicit stuff, it's just to practice my art.
So you would draw Sonic and then somebody would come in and say something like inappropriate about Sonic and be
they just like,
that's a hot Sonic drawing,
no, they're like, this is a cool drawing. I'll click on their profile and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And this is on DeviantArt, by the way. So I gotta click on their drawing and stuff like that. And this is like the early days of Flash when people used to make Flash cartoons or Flash shorts, and they'll be on DeviantArt. Okay. So you had like a whole little community there. But sometimes you'll click on somebody who's in that community that you were within, but they all have like a dark side of community as well, DeviantArt. Yeah. And it's like all the Japanese porn hentai stuff and like the furry stuff. You'll click on their profile, you're like, oh shit, and like that's what I discovered. Yeah. Like that whole subsection of people. And then I started going to cons and I started actually interacting and meeting these people and stuff like that. And yeah, man. And one day I gotta tell you about the time I accidentally walked into an orgy. But I don't think that.
We'll talk about that off mic.
Yeah. I can talk about it on mic because it's definitely video game related. But
was it at a video game con?
Yeah.
I've heard cons are pretty horny.
Yeah, bro.
Pretty horny, dude. Like I've heard stories.
It's ridiculous,
man.
One dude walked out the bathroom because we were like standing by the side. I just give you one snippet of it. Okay. We were standing by the side, by the door, because we didn't know what was going down. And one dude walked out the bathroom with the Keyblade dildo and was like, "All right, let's get this party started." And we were like, yeah, I think I'm gonna go.
We're
now.
in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
That's one of the reasons I got so many followers. I told that story on Twitter. Like everyone started following me.
Oh man.
forgot about that story. People were like, man, remember that time you told me about the orgy you walked into? I was like, oh shit, I'm right.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay, let's digress. Let's get back to video games. This is a video game podcast where we go off topic and talk about furries and Sonic. Okay, last announcement for the week. Madden NFL 20 was revealed. Patrick Mahomes is the cover athlete. It's coming on August 2nd.
So everybody with their...
And it's coming back to PC.
Cool.
That's the first time in a while.
It's going to be an Origin, right?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, more than likely. Maybe it'll be on Steam. Maybe. Or it'll become an Epic Store exclusive. I'm sorry.
Also, for you football fancy guys, don't draft Patrick Mahomes.
Well, I read about this. Franchise mode is actually getting some changes this year for the first time in like 7 or 8 years.
Maybe they have our office bugged.
But they're actually listening to our podcast. Well, dude, so no, this kind of annoys me a little bit because it's like they're gonna make changes to franchise mode and then they're not gonna touch franchise mode for another 8 years probably. It's just gonna be what it is for 8 years. And it's like they're like, because the guy was talking about it, their director was talking about it, and he was like, man, it just franchise mode just feels like a stat. A stat game. It's not like, it doesn't feel like real football. And it's like,
duh.
Yeah, you think that might be a priority for your football game, maybe, to feel like football.
Man. Madden Ultimate Team's a priority, man.
Yeah, that definitely feels like football.
Beckham card, man.
Yeah, I can really just pull players out of card packs, and, and then they just play for me, and it's great. It's like, it's a really, really good.
Well, this does go into line with what they were saying. What Jason Schreier was saying, or whatever, I don't know where I heard it, but EA is trying to change their appearance.
Yeah. So
maybe start with Madden and we'll get some more single player stuff instead of Ultimate Team bullcrap.
I mean, that would be nice. I want to like Madden. I've said this before. I want to like Madden, but they don't care about the shit that I like about Madden, so I'm not going to care about Madden. That's the reality of the situation. And I find that really frustrating as somebody who's a pretty big football fan.
Yep.
I need the NFL to get their head out of their ass. Like, enough with the exclusivity. Enough.
Do you have any kind of information on how long that exclusivity deal is? Or is it like a permanent thing?
Dude, I don't know if it's like DirecTV's and it goes away every few years. I think it does, but I'm not 100% sure on that. That's something.
I know they bought it.
I might do some research on that, but because I don't know if the deal is it like a 20-year exclusivity deal?
Yeah, because I just heard when people say they bought it, I'm like, did they buy the rights? If they bought the rights, then it's theirs.
No, they didn't buy the rights. They made a licensing deal with the NFL that makes them the exclusive partner for video games.
Yeah, that was a rumor. People were like, then they bought the rights to make video games for NFL.
I don't think that's the case. That would be insane if the NFL did that. They would be crazy.
Well, I mean, look what they did with DirecTV.
Yeah, but that's not. They didn't. That's the same thing that I'm talking about. That's a licensing deal for broadcasting. That's not.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with they don't own anything they're showing. They don't own any piece of the NFL. They just own the ability to broadcast any game, or sell Sunday Ticket, basically. Yeah. And actually, the NFL is thinking about undoing the Sunday Ticket deal next year after this coming season, so that's kind of a good sign. Maybe they're kind of changing their tack and might allow maybe 2K to do a game again. Then again, 2K is not much better anymore. They saw what EA was doing and kind of went down a similar path from what I understand, so with the basketball games. So, I don't know. I mean, it's just microtransactions in these games are probably here to stay, but I wish they would try to make a quality video game at some point, maybe. You think that'd be a priority, but I don't know. Okay, moving on. New game releases this week. All I'm seeing is Final Fantasy 12 is coming on Switch and Xbox One.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy it for the Switch.
You're gonna buy it for the Switch, right?
I'm actually waiting for. That's what I'm waiting for. That's my next purchase for this.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna have a few quiet weeks ahead. May does not seem like a pretty very big month.
Hey, man, you got Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered coming to the
couple
Switch.
weeks, man, right? It's coming in a couple weeks on Switch, yeah.
Oh, you can get the VR golf.
Or Puyo Puyo Champions next week. Or 2 weeks from now. Right.
Hey, actually, that game's insanely popular.
Hey, dude, we're spoiling next week's podcast.
Yeah.
I'm sure people are riveted by this segment, right?
Can't stand you.
Okay. So we had planned a topic of the show, but we're at an hour 24. You want to just call it? I feel like we've had a good show. It's nice and tight. We can
kind of talk about it for like you want to talk about it for about 5 minutes.
Yeah, but we're under hour 30. I'm feeling good.
You feeling good? All
right. You know what? Let's do it. We'll just talk about it. We teased it. So MK11 came out, and it was obviously found out pretty quickly that there are a obnoxious amount of microtransactions in this game.
So how much was it? I think if you add
somebody totaled it out. So I think how many characters are there? 23 or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
And I think every character has 56 skins or something.
56
skins?
Yeah,
I think so.
What?
Yeah. And I haven't done this, but I kind of want to go through the skins and see if they're just color variations of each other or something obnoxious like that. Because there's no way they made 56 unique skins for every single character. So there's 56 skins, and I think every skin costs $5. And somebody did the math that if you buy every skin for every character, it's like $6,500, close to that.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Which is insane.
That's ridiculous.
Obviously, you can earn these skins in-game.
Yeah.
In the crypt mode, I think it's called.
Yeah.
And that mode has RNG loot boxes in it that you earn by doing activities.
Yeah.
And you'll randomly get cosmetics and consumables and all sorts of garbage in it.
I didn't know you could consumables because they had the crypt way, way back on like Mortal Kombat Annihilation or Deadly Alliance.
Okay.
You can go to the crypt, but you didn't have to pay for it. It was just more so like, artwork and things of that nature.
Yeah.
The development and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Stuff of that. But
yeah.
This is kind of ridiculous, man.
So that's kind of the situation to my knowledge. You can earn credits in that mode that you can buy stuff with.
Well, I mean, to Dead or Alive 6 did the same thing.
Yes.
They had 1,200. I think they calculated.
But it was only 1,200. Well, I say only.
Only 1,200.
I say only, but
also, the game is free to play. You don't have
Dead or Alive 6 is?
Yeah, Dead or Alive is free to play.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that changes the complexion a little bit.
Yeah.
Somewhat. I mean, Dota's got thousands of dollars of freaking microtransactions.
Exactly.
So
that's what I'm saying. Like,
so does League.
The free to play. the thing about fighting games though is, well, I guess it is in the same era as like League and Dota because you have different characters that have. Well, I'm talking about like balancing. Like you have different characters who are stronger than other characters.
Yeah.
But I guess you can unlock it through just playing the game.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know Killer Instinct was really the first to do this free to play.
Yes, on Xbox.
On Xbox
One.
Yeah, Xbox One. Yep. And that game received a lot of love because.
Oh boy, yeah.
That
was the one that started this thinking about it.
Yeah, and it was free to play, but
they were pretty successful with it too. For a while.
And I don't know if you can unlock the characters for free or if you had to pay for them. I think you had to pay for them.
I do think you had to pay for them.
Yeah. Because I remember I just bought like something edition where you get all 8 characters and yeah, so it was like $20 or something like that. So I just bought that and I got 8 characters and I was playing Killer Instinct for a while. So the difference between the controversy besides that and Killer Instinct is Mortal Kombat you have to pay $60 for it.
Yes, premium up front.
Yeah, and I don't think they learned. Like sometimes I wonder what developers if they look into the industry. Like, cause Street Fighter 5 did the same exact thing, and people eviscerated.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing about this one is that one of the developers, I'm guessing the producer or director, one of the two, he came out and said a while back that there would be no loot boxes in this game, and there aren't paid loot boxes in this game. However, the crypt mode, as I said earlier, has randomized loot boxes that drop items.
Yeah.
So you don't have to pay for them, but they're in the game, and it's like...
Yeah, like the crypt mode, like I said, that's been in there since Deadly Alliance, and that's their way of like showcasing artwork that they did throughout the development.
But my understanding is that in the past, the crypt was not randomized. Like, you could get certain items guaranteed for doing certain activities. That is not the case in this game, from what I know.
Yeah, I think it was certain chests. Like, it was. Yeah, you're right.
So now you just get everything you get is completely random, and when you have 56 characters or 56 costumes times 23 characters plus all the other garbage they throw into the loot box, the chances of you getting a skin that you actually want is like extremely low, ridiculously low. So I'm not in the fighting game scene really at all. So I mean, what do you think about this from your perspective as a fighting game fan? Does this gross you out?
Yes, it grosses me out because usually when they release like fighting game skins, it's like a pack.
Yeah,
and then they do it with like season updates.
You get like a few characters in one package. Yeah,
and it's like a season update and things of that nature as well. So they release it with a patch and things of that nature. So, I mean, because it's almost like the meta for like a MOBA, right? The meta shifts based on the patches and things of that 100%. Nature. So
characters ebb and flow and how powerful they are. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And then people have certain skins they want to buy for these characters that they use and things of that nature. Yeah. So I think in this case, this is egregious. I'm not saying that, but I'm not surprised because this is Warner Brothers we're talking about.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, look what they did to Shadow of War.
Oh my god,
Dude.
And Batman Arkham Knight.
Oh yeah,
like, you remember that season pass for that game?
Oh my god, I forgot.
There was like
about
2
that.
hours of content in the whole season pass, like bullshit.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not surprised that they touched this.
Yeah,
they had their hands in this. I'm kind of surprised. I am surprised that Ed Boon let it slide. Like, I'm surprised he didn't like kind of push back on it.
Yeah.
I'm not really into the Mortal Kombat fighting game scene, but I can only imagine how that fan base is like really. They're because the Mortal Kombat fan base is really loyal to Mortal Kombat. Like, you saw the hype that they generated.
Oh
for the
yeah,
game.
dude. Oh yeah,
it's like way bigger than it's not as big as Street Fighter, but as far as like loyalty and things of that nature, they are diehard fans.
No, there's a culture around Mortal Kombat that the other fighters don't have.
Exactly,
right?
That's the word. That's exactly what
like Street Fighter is like the technical, hardcore competitive fighter.
Exactly.
Mortal Kombat's really not that. It's more of like a. It's kind of just crazy nonsense for the most part. I mean, I know it's still a good fighter, but I don't think people talk about it in that way.
It just started getting talked about in that way. But you're right. People, a lot of casual people love Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
like you talk to anyone, like, man, I love Mortal Kombat.
Watching the fatalities and stuff and all that. That's like a whole thing about that. It's like I don't care for it, but
Yeah. So I mean, I think it's a slap in the face to that fan base because, like,
man,
I don't.
Why do all these games keep doing this?
I don't know, man.
Like, can we just like release a game and you release maybe some DLC and, like you were saying, some skin packs and just call it a day? Do you have to milk us for every goddamn penny you can get out of us? Like, can we stop with that? I'm just so sick of seeing this with like every freaking game. It's like,
you're right.
You don't have to have thousands of dollars of DLC in your game. Like, it's just obnoxious, Remember when Evolve did that and that game died in like a month?
And you had to pay $60 for that game too,
and you
right?
had to pay $60 for that game. Yes, that was not a free to play game.
The only thing that's going to keep this game alive is the simple fact that it is a fighting game.
Yeah.
So we might see this at the big fighting game tournament.
And
Evo.
It's Mortal Kombat too.
Yeah, and it's Mortal Kombat. Yeah. So we might see this at Evo.
Dude, I also heard a rumor that there's like 19 DLC characters that got mined for this game.
What?
Yeah, 19. That's like almost double the roster.
And then they want you to. You probably got to pay for them too.
Oh, of course. Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure you do. I'm sure you
absolutely
do.
They probably have 56 skin packs for them as well.
Well, that's exactly right. Yeah. So every one of those characters, you got another 56 skin packs coming. Like this game, to get everything, it'll cost you like $20,000 when all's said and done. It's like this freaking insane,
I think people need to talk about this more. I don't think we should let them get away because, I mean, Ed Boon's a cool guy, but I don't think we should let them get away with this.
Yeah, he sounds a little bit like almost like a snake oil salesman to me.
Yeah.
From my perspective, trying to say that there were no loot boxes and then there are, even though they're not paid. It's like, I mean, they literally are in your game, dude. Like,
yeah.
It's kind of hard to get away from that element of it. And I don't know. I don't like to see this happen with fan bases like this. You know, as I said, I don't care for Mortal Kombat, but dude, I know it has a hardcore fan base, and to see them get taken advantage of,
and that fan base is surprisingly nice. Like, they're nice people.
Yeah. You think given the content of the game that they're
like assholes, but no, they're like surprisingly nice
like,
people.
Oh man, that fatality was really brutal. Yeah, man. Oh,
like they're more opening.
They like Dennison, like oh gosh, oh he got. Oh.
No, they're just more open to new players from like instead of like
other fighting games.
Yeah, other fighting games like Street Fighter and things of that nature.
Games, maybe, yeah.
Like, they're more open to let people in and do their own thing and things of that nature. They're not as closed off or gated as, like, Street Fighter, like I said, or Marvel vs. Capcom. Yeah. A lot of people take a liking to that because a lot of people got into Mortal Kombat because of the community was just really open. Yeah. That's what I like about that fighting game community, is in particular with Mortal Kombat. So that's why I think it's, like, really, really messed up that they're doing this to their fan base like that, because that is one of the most diverse communities in gaming, besides Overwatch.
Mortal Kombat's got a legacy in gaming, man. To see this continue to happen to franchises like this, ones that are old.
Yeah, this one kind of set the standard for like mature content in games.
For real, man. Like, I mean, it's a real shame to see this happen to like this kind of franchise. You know, this isn't like this happening to. I don't even know. Like, I'm trying to think of something that's like not to like Overwatch, right? Overwatch is a good example. Like, that's a new IP. They specifically made it to monetize it. You know, it's like that's kind of something different. It's gross, but it's not in the level of like. It's the same thing I feel about Madden. Actually, like Madden's an extremely old franchise. It's like 30 years old. You know, or more than that now. Actually, I think it's like 32 or something like that.
Yeah, I think you're right.
This is an extremely old franchise, and to see that turned into a microtransaction casino factory for EA is like, it's disgusting. It's disgusting, dude. And like, you turn a franchise that had 20 years of hard work to turn it into what it is, and you turn it into something that is a husk of what it was to make money off of it.
Well, that kind of goes into our conversation earlier where we get like new people that come in. I don't want to say it's all their fault, but like they don't have to necessarily be like young, but they just don't know the culture because they come into this franchise or the fan base or whatever, and they're like, oh man, this is an opportunity for me to actually milk it or make more money. Whereas like people that were there before at the beginning, no matter how young or old you are, you knew the culture of it, and you're like, I don't really. That's why I see a lot of people. I think that's why we see a lot of game developers just leave, like, because they
just get out of the industry entirely. Yeah, because they don't see a future necessarily, or they see this being the future. I mean, that's the thing for me that just like I don't want to see. I don't want to see gaming go down this path, and it's unfortunate because it's been around long enough now that I think some of the newer gamers that have kind of come around this generation, they're just used to it, you know. And that's the part I'm scared. It's like a normal thing now.
Yeah, that's the part I'm scared of. They're like used to it, and you got a lot of kids, like little kids now, like 4 or 5. They play the little cell phone games. Oh yeah, and those games have like microtransactions on them. So, like, I mean, because I get around my cousin all the time, and the running joke is, you got any games on your phone? Like, because they always ask you that.
Dude, that crap is so predatory, man. Yeah. Too. I don't understand how those games have gotten away from being regulated. I just don't get it. I think it's literally because people don't know. They just don't know. Yeah. They really don't know how bad they are. They are horrifying, like a lot of these games are. I would point to Clash of Clans. I'd point to Fire Emblem Heroes, these gacha games. Like, I don't get how they've escaped the eye of like people in power, because they make so much money. There's so much money going through these apps that it's like it's wild to me. And the fact, like, obviously parents have to parent and protect their kids and protect themselves from their kids doing that stuff, but that doesn't excuse the fact that these games are literally trying as hard as they can to take advantage of the fact they're trying to take advantage of negligent parents who aren't paying attention.
And they're trying to like make profit off addiction, which is in my opinion, it should be classified as a mental illness. So you're taking advantage of that, and
you're taking advantage of people's weakness too.
Exactly.
And I mean, companies do that all the time, but I just don't feel comfortable with the way the market and phone gaming has gone, and
Yeah.
to see that happen, it's not the same thing with Mortal Kombat 11 because it's not loot boxes in the sense of, you know, what Battlefront 2 was. It's not randomized necessarily. Like, if you want to buy a skin that you like, you can buy the skin.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people defend that. But when it's at the volume of this, you made 56 skins for every character. Who the fuck needs 56 skins? You can only use one at a time. Like,
I'm pretty sure there's some crazy kook out there who has just some money lying around. He's like,
bought them all, yeah.
He bought them all.
Man, you're probably right. I wouldn't be surprised by that. But that's the thing. That's the sad part about it is I think some people, too, they don't do it consciously necessarily. It's like almost like a compulsion, you know?
Yeah.
It's like you're saying addiction, you know?
I mean, I fell victim to it because, I mean...
I've talked about it in the past, too, yeah.
I mean, just this past week, like, I spent some money on League skins. But the thing that gets you is, like, they got, like I said, they got this thing called Your Store where they give you skin. You turn these cards over, and you get 6 skins that are, like, marked down super low.
Yeah.
Like, they may be, like, 20 to 75% off.
Yeah.
And you got a week to buy them. And if you don't buy them within that week, then, you know, you missed out on that deal. So, I mean, I don't even buy skins like that. The last time I bought skins was probably 2 years ago or some shit like that.
Yeah.
But it's just like that right there. I'm like, dang, these are really some cool skins that got released for these characters. So,
and they're probably, like, super old, though.
Yeah, some of them are super rare, and then some of them are old. Yeah. And that you can't buy just, like, on a normal skin.
Dude, I was telling you, too, like, Dota is one of the grosser games, like, in terms of microtransactions, and I bought quite a few skins in that game before. I haven't bought skins in a while, but I've told you, like, because you can sell Dota skins on Steam store, on the marketplace, and I've told you the value of some of the skins I have.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
It is insane, you know, and I just happen to get lucky to get a lot of them. Some of them I did spend more money than I am proud to say to kind of get them. Not more than they're probably worth now, but it was a good amount. You know? And it's like that's an element to it for Dota that is actually kind of gross as well. I was chasing like value on the store. They would release new skins, and I would sit there and be like, do I think this skin is going to be worth something in a few months or in like a year when you can't get it anymore? Like, because that's the thing. They release exclusive skins for every quarter of the year, so every season basically gets a new set of skins. And those skins don't ever come back usually. They're just gone for good. You know, you can't get them really any other way besides buying them off the marketplace. And it was a weird place to be where you're sitting there like spending money thinking about value of a digital skin and whether it's worth it, and you just keep chasing that value over. And you know what's funny about it is like it actually worked out in my case because the skins I have are worth just stupid amounts of money. Like, and like I have one in particular that's worth probably $300.
That's crazy,
which is nuts, right? And I've held on to it because I really like the skin. And I may sell it at some point because I always fear like they announced Dota 3 and the skins are worthless. But I don't think they would do that to people. I really feel like they will transfer whatever skins are in Dota 2 over to whatever the next game is. And I just don't feel like... I don't think League and Dota will ever release a sequel until...
Yeah, they won't.
It'll be like 20 years from now. Like, there's just no need.
I just think at this point,
you know?
especially like League... and Dota, they have like such a robust world and lore. They probably just need to go like the World of Warcraft route, make an MMO out of it or some shit like that.
Yeah. The game itself doesn't need to be. They don't need a sequel. What would a sequel get you?
Nothing.
You know, because you're gonna have to port every character you have in the prior game into that. You're not gonna get away with cutting characters out. Like people are gonna be pissed. You know.
Exactly.
You're like shrinking your experience down and making it less valuable or less fun, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't think that'll happen. So I'm not really worried about it from that front, but it's just thinking about like the way I used to be with that stuff is
and that's why I think with Mortal Kombat is doing, they're trying to turn their fan base into that, and I'm glad the fan base is kind of pushing back,
fighting
like
back,
because I don't want to see anybody go down that route. That's a scary route to go down. I mean, we see how egregious League is, we see how egregious Riot is, or Dota is. We see how egregious Overwatch is. A lot of people don't give them flack for it.
Oh my god, I can't believe how many people defend Overwatch. It drives me nuts. They're like the beginning. They're the ones who like
popularized.
They're the ones who popularized this too.
Yeah, so
it's super frustrating.
Like Counter-Strike went under the radar. It was on radar for a minute, and then it went under radar. Yeah. They used to have YouTube videos of people who don't even play Counter-Strike, but they would just roll for random gun skins. So, I mean, it's definitely an economy that needs to be looked at, but I don't think it's gonna be looked at anytime soon.
I don't either. I think from our perspective as gamers, I think those of us who are in these communities, we just have to call this stuff out when we see it. We have to keep calling it out. We have to keep pushing back because we're the only ones who are going to make change happen.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, because like you said, I don't think regulation is going to happen. Like there was that Hawaiian House member that was talking about regulating loot boxes in Hawaii, and I don't think that ever went anywhere. You know,
no, I think it was just a push to get it out there in the open.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people are afraid, even afraid of mentioning regulation. You mentioned those words, are like, man, that can come true. Okay.
For good reason. I don't think gaming needs to be regulated. That's bad. You don't want that to happen in a market. But, dude, it's like, I mean, but then you have stuff like this. Like, it's just like, we can't control ourselves, though. So
exactly.
Somebody has to come in and do it for us because
that's why I'm glad like countries like Belgium stepped in and like, listen, get this out of our games.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Or make it some kind of, because I feel like, is it taxable? Because I feel like they're not even getting taxed for it.
Dude, digital goods are weird. I think for a while they weren't taxable. I think they became taxable though.
Okay.
In the last few years. They were a weird loophole, and I think the government
finally
closed that up recently.
Yeah, because I when I bought those skins for League, I bought the RP actually, and that's like
taxed.
And it was taxed.
Yeah,
so
which it wasn't in the past.
It wasn't. No, it was just straight up $10.
Which I remember that. Yeah. So that's changed in recent years. I think the last few years, but yeah. I mean, I don't have a lot more to say specifically about MK11. I just I don't know.
I mean, that's why I want to talk about, because I knew it was going to bring up a broader broader topic of like loot boxes and microtransactions and skins and stuff like that. Because skins are cool, but I mean, if you're a younger gamer, say if you're listening to our podcast now, you're like maybe 15 to 18 years old right now, and you don't understand why like skins have been a big recent thing or whatever. So hotly debated. Well, back in the day, you unlock the skins through various things.
Gameplay.
Yeah, just
playing
through
the game.
Regular gameplay. The developers kind of put the skins in there as like, hey, thanks for playing our game, you guys. And you discovered it. Sometimes it was rare skins. You had to do crazy stuff that the developer intentionally put in there as a crazy thing to do. Yeah. And you got the skin. There are still skins from older games and still Easter eggs from older games that are being discovered to this day. So, I mean, we want to get back to that. I mean, unfortunately, we're not going to get back to that, but just to let you guys get a brief history of why a lot of older gamers be up in arms about this stuff.
Yeah, fair enough. I think that's all we need to say, really. So that is going to be it for the show this week. If you like the show, please like the show wherever you're listening to it. Review the show. We would appreciate that. And then subscribe to the show wherever you're listening to it as well. And then share it with your friends. As we've said in the past, we're trying to build the audience. We want to get some questions. We would love to be doing reader questions. So if you want to talk to any of us on Twitter, send us questions or just interact with us in general. Montrell is at iTrap4 the Hokage. That is the number 4 and not the word. I am at ThunderNut01. The podcast is at The Player's Take. If you would like to send us a question, you can do so at theplayerstake01@gmail.com. And that is going to be it for this week. Next week, I think there's going to be a Borderlands 3 gameplay reveal happening on the 1st.
Okay.
I will absolutely be checking that out because that is the thing I care the most about with this game. I really want to see what changes they've made to gameplay. So I'm hotly anticipating that. I'm sure we'll be talking about that next week. Otherwise, who knows? We'll see what happens, man. We're going to be recording late, so we may have more news than usual probably to talk about. So we hope you guys enjoyed this one, and we will see you on the next one. All right? Bye, guys.